In the early 19th century, as the dust settled from the Napoleonic Wars, a young United States faced a world still dominated by European empires. President James Monroe, in his 1823 address to Congress, laid out a bold foreign policy that would shape American diplomacy for generations. Known today as the Monroe Doctrine, it declared the Western Hemisphere off-limits to further European colonization or interference. Monroe warned that any such moves would be seen as a threat to U.S. security, while promising America would stay out of Europe's internal affairs. This wasn't just rhetoric, it was a response to real fears. Latin American colonies were breaking free from Spain and Portugal, but rumors swirled that European powers, like France and Russia, might step in to restore monarchies or claim new territories. But why did Europe, with its mighty navies and armies, largely go along with this upstart nation's decree? The answer lies less in American muscle, which was minimal back then, and more in clever alliances and shifting global interests. At the time, the US had a tiny navy and no standing army to speak of, so enforcement seemed impossible. Many European leaders dismissed it outright. Austria's Prince Clemens von Metternich called it an act of revolt that would embolden rebels everywhere. Russia ignored it, continuing claims in the Pacific Northwest. France and Spain, weakened by wars and revolutions, paid it little heed at first, with Spain even attempting to retake parts of Mexico and the Dominican Republic in later years. The real game-changer was Britain. Fresh from defeating Napoleon, the British Empire saw the doctrine as aligning perfectly with its own goals. Britain's booming industries needed open markets in the newly independent Latin American states. If Spain or others reconquered them, mercantilist trade barriers would shut out British goods. So while the US made the declaration, it was the Royal Navy, the world's most powerful fleet, that quietly enforced it for decades. Britain had even proposed a joint statement earlier that year, but America, still smarting from the War of 1812, went solo. This tacit partnership under Pax Britannica kept other Europeans at bay, turning the doctrine into a shield for free trade and anti-colonialism in the Americas. Of course, compliance wasn't universal or immediate. France boldly intervened in Mexico in the 1860s, installing a puppet emperor during the US Civil War. As the war ended, American pressure forced a French withdrawal, showing the doctrine's growing teeth as US power expanded. In the 1890s Venezuelan crisis, Britain clashed with the US over a border dispute, but backed down after President Grover Cleveland invoked the doctrine, leading to arbitration. Even German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck scoffed at it as insolence, but Europe increasingly recognized America's hemispheric dominance. Latin American reactions were mixed too. Leaders like Simón Bolívar welcomed it as protection from old empires, though some worried it masked US ambitions. Over time, the doctrine evolved, justifying US interventions under later presidents like Theodore Roosevelt. But in those early days, Europe's obedience stemmed from exhaustion after endless wars, Britain's self-interested enforcement, and the slow realization that the New World was charting its own course. What began as a defensive stance became a cornerstone of American foreign policy, reminding the world that the era of European colonialism in the Americas was drawing to a close. If you enjoyed this video, then like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel.